Here we go. And let's go.
Good. That's perfect.
It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents, not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. Featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Good one, everyone. Great show. All kind of stuff going on. I was out of town last week, back in the studio this week. I was actually at a conference last week at Grant Cardone's office, huge real estate guy, $1 billion plus in real estate that they have under management, and super powerful. Their sales organization is crazy, 100+ million a year in sales. It was wow. We'll talk about that. And we're just looking at some of the, I coach with them and part of their program, and it was cool to see how their culture works. We're bringing that back to our team, but lots of great stuff. We'll kind of recap that in Miami, was where they're based out of, at Ventura. And back in the studio, lots of great stuff. We have the brand new micro market numbers in. Very, very interesting. Some areas down. Saw a huge increase in listings in the Myrtle Beach area. We'll kind of talk about what's up, what's down. Some areas are up, some areas are down. And we'll look at how everything's stacked up, and that's like per zip code, per area. We also have something that was on last show's agenda, just didn't get a chance to do it. Just talks about national data that shows why selling without an agent can cost you a whole lot more than you think. And it's pretty interesting to see the massive difference. And typically people think they're saving money, but with the data shows they're not. And obviously it has some great data breakdown, lots of great stuff there as well. Our investment fund bought another property last week in Conway, and looking to buy more stuff. We actually just hired a full-time acquisitions person who's there for the fund to help make offers, doing separate stuff in addition to our real estate company that's there. So if anybody out there looking to get an instant cash offer, to get an instant buyout at a fair price, definitely reach out to us with that. Also looking to buy some service-based businesses out there. If anybody's looking things like HVAC, termite stuff, things like that, pest control, reach out to us because we have that fund looking to buy that stuff. Also, some amazing success stories. Our team's absolutely crushing it. We had a great little run there when rates went back down. We'll talk about rates today, but they went down to a 10+ month low. That put some gasoline on the fire. We'll talk about what those numbers look like overall. Our teams are kind of burning at both ends. And one thing we've been talking about, like really been ramping up, especially into this fall market, is we're looking to add a couple more people on our team. If you're out there listening, watching real estate or watching online, reach out to me. We actually have a full-time recruiter, somebody who's out there helping add to our team, because we spent so long and so many years dialing in our marketing. Like I mentioned before, spend 6 figures a month in marketing. I have so many of that aspect dialed in, just need a few more people instead of having to back that marketing up. I want to make sure we can add to the team. And so if you're thinking about that, we have scholarships. People get real estate. We have a full real estate school where we can get you 40% off if you want to purchase it from what other ones cost out there. And it's a national credit school, very, very good. And lots of great stuff. And we just have one goal. The same thing we've been doing here 15+ years on this station is just helping you keep updated on anything, everything real estate related here in Myrtle Beach. And my goal, my passion is just to help you make better decisions, right? For most people, real estate is their largest asset. And it's one of those things that we want to make sure that we can help keep you updated on the data, on what's happening, give you the best tools, things like that. If you ever want to come back, watch the show, you can go on YouTube, just type in Blake Sloan Radio Show. You can follow me on Facebook at Blake Sloan. We stream it on Facebook as well. So lots of great stuff. Stay tuned. And we have a lot of good stuff going on.
For any new listeners, just to give you an update on just who Blake is, it's an amazing story. Industry leaders have dubbed him the real estate whiz kid. Been featured in Forbes, Wall Street Journal, NBC, Realtor Magazine, and many other national publications. He has been personally endorsed by Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck. One of those by itself is an accomplishment, but all of them together is unprecedented. Last week, we learned a little about how you and your team work and how a good portion of your success has come from the trademark systems you have developed to help both buyers and sellers here in our market. Recap quickly for anyone new to the show what those are exactly and a quick overview of how they work, Blake.
Yes, Rick, and that's the whole reason why we do the show. The whole DNA about why we do the show is just to help really kind of overcome some of the biggest mistakes I see homeowners make. And I made a promise a while back that until a problem stops happening, I'm just going to keep talking about it because it's by far the biggest problem, the biggest issue. The only thing that matters, I can talk about a lot of cool stuff about the market, what's happening, but nothing really, really overshadows kind of what the main problem is. The main problem is that everyone thinks that all real estate agents are the same. They think they're just a commodity. And for the most part, a lot of them are pretty similar, right? The reality is the average agent on marketplace sells 4 homes per year. It's 1 per quarter. And so the masses are very similar, but the reality is all agents not the same. And so the reality is everyone makes this mistake. And the problem is there's two main issues. Number one, it's a high ticket sale, meaning it's a high end product. It takes a lot of thought, a lot of emotions, a lot of parts of it. Number two, has a very long sales cycle because obviously people are looking for a long time. You have to get financing, you have to do inspections, you have to have all these things. There's all these nuances that make or break the sale. And the third component of that really kind of mixes it up is it's a service-based business, meaning it has to do with how well the human actually executes that gets the end result. And so people just make this mistake of not understanding that the human that you choose that executes on all those variables is what makes or breaks the home sale. And so everyone's not a commodity, right? Just like a lawyer, a doctor, if I have a charge with a crime I didn't commit or somebody's trying to sue me for everything I have, the last thing I want is some part-time attorney who's only tried a few cases, right? Who works with 4 clients a year. I want the absolute best, most aggressive attorney who specializes in that type of law, who's an absolute animal in the courtroom that gives me a competitive advantage, right? And you should demand the same level of excellence for your largest asset. But for some reason, people just go with the cheapest or the friend of a friend. They don't really ask the right questions. They don't really know what to ask. And so the reality is they gamble with their largest assets, and it's very, very scary. It's very dangerous. And I see horror story after horror story after horror story. And I see it all the time. Just when I was just talking to yesterday, I've been listed for 10 months with a friend. It's a nice high-end condo. It's sitting vacant. They're spending over $1,000 a month just in like HOA and upkeep costs and like that they have, plus the debt service they have on it. And it's just running through cash flow. And so they have the similar mistake of thinking everyone's the same, and it's not, right? And so it's just one of those things that you see happen all the time. So here's the fact. The single most important variable that determines your success or failure as a home seller comes to one thing only. And that thing is the agent you choose, period. I've been doing this for 20 years now. And the reality is people tend to not really ask the right questions, and they don't really know what questions to ask. They just ask, how much do you charge, right? And they're just making a decision based on the cheapest, which is not the best way to search for anything, right? And I tell this story all the time. If I'm buying anything, it could be a AAA battery, it could be a Mercedes-Benz, it could be anything, a real estate agent, an attorney. If I just pick based on the cheapest, what's my outcome going to be? It's not going to be a very good outcome. It's not going to work out for me very, very well, right? And doesn't mean you have to pay the most expensive, but you obviously want to find the most valuable. And the reality with our team, we're pretty much the same price as everyone else, but you're able to really have a system and a process that backs it up. When I got in real estate, I'm like, man, this is really kind of a broken model. Everyone was kind of independent. I was at Coldwell Banker at the time. There's 200 agents. They didn't really care about us. I didn't care about them. And it was super competitive. Culture wasn't aligned. They didn't really like anyone else to do well. If you did well, you're kind of like the bad guy. And there's many cases where there wasn't a lot of alignment. And so I was like, there's got to be a better way to do this. And I looked at what people did outside of real estate in traditional brick and mortar businesses. And I brought those principles back in, even hired a coach who actually built and scaled grocery stores, went from 40 to 4,000 and ended up selling them and learned those principles and brought those things into real estate. And the problem with real estate is you have single agents that are managing a high ticket item with a large sales cycle all by themselves. And so you have one agent who's trying to work with buyers. They're trying to work with sellers. They're trying to do their marketing, if they do any. They're trying to do their administrative work. That's why they don't call you back or update you. They're trying to do their contracted close, which is like the home inspection, the finance contingencies, all these things that have to happen. There's 100+ variables when someone sells a house. If each one's handled correctly, it puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. Anything's handled incorrectly, right? The ball gets dropped. That could be anything from the photo quality, the order of the photos, pricing strategy. Do they answer the phone when buyers call them? How long does it take to respond to buyers? All these things that come into play make or break the home sale. You have one single person juggling every single ball. It's simply impossible, right? It's like having the same person at McDonald's as the front register, the drive-thru and fries at the same time. I say it all the time, but it's so important because people miss this, right? You have to make sure you have someone, the system and process and people to manage all the variables. And so that's exactly what I did. I flipped the business model upside down and created a team of specialists. I designed this thing called the Guaranteed Sold System, the only proven system that sells twice as fast and for 20% more money than traditional methods. And it works very, very, very well, right? It's backed up by two main things. Number one, it's a large team of people. I think we're 30+ people right now on our team. We have an inside sales team, an outside sales team. We have buyer specialists, listing specialists. We have in-house listing coordinator, in-house closing coordinator, in-house photography, videographer. We have in-house graphic design to make sure you can design all that stuff. And so everyone there is a specialist where they're able to execute the highest level and manage those variables proactively. And so you stack those dominoes up, point 1 at point 2 at point 3, and you create a massive gap at the end that gives the seller a massive competitive advantage. So if you want to know more about it, just investigate, take a look at it. You can call me 843-808-SOLD. You can also watch a detailed documentary that we put together for our listeners out there, for our potential clients, that just show exactly what we do. It's at blakesloan.com. But for buyers out there, guess what? It's the same problem. There's 100+ variables when you buy a property, and it all comes down to how well does that human execute that's helping you in the process. How well they execute on the details, the minute details that have to come up, and really how you navigate those small decisions and processes, and it really makes or breaks the home purchase. And so we designed this thing for buyers out there to give them a competitive advantage. It's called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. Gives you priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as the home inspection to get you to that closing table successfully with the absolute best possible deal. And so if you want to know more how they work, reach out, at least investigate, take a look at it, right? Touch your toe in the water and see, hey, what does this look like compared to everything else? Anyone else we sit down with, it absolutely blows their mind. And so one or more, reach out, call me 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com. Right back in a second.
Hey, Sean Hannity here with the only real estate agent in your market that I recommend, Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Now, thanks for joining me today. A lot of real estate companies are making instant offers these days. What makes yours different from what they're offering?
Hey, Sean, that's such a great question. The massive difference is we actually buy your house. Most of those advertisements you hear, even on the same station, are wholesalers. They're just there to lock your property up at a discount price and try to assign it to someone else to make money off your hard-earned equity. Then they leave you hanging at the closing table if they can't find someone else. They never had any intention of closing. Most don't even have the money to close if they wanted to. We're local. We have millions of dollars, and we actually close the deal.
All right, thanks for keeping us up to date. Find out how much demand your home can command right now. Call the agent that creates the most demand. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD or online at BlakeSloan.com. That's BlakeSloan.com. And consider your home sold.
Hi, I'm Barbara Barber. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. You offer several options to home sales, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. For sellers in a time crunch, you can agree to sell it by a certain date, take cash for your home, or even rent it.
That's great. And if the seller has a bit more time,
Use our proven marketing plan to sell it for the highest price.
work with my friend Blake Sloan and get your home sold on your terms.
Welcome back, Blake Sloan radio show. Lots of stuff going on in the marketplace. We'll kind of talk about a couple main things. We'll talk about the macro market, really quick recap for hey, what's the entire market doing, and look at the micro market, which is like what's each zip code doing, and we'll also look at what's happening in real time. We've seen it kind of fluctuate the last 2 or 3 weeks. We got a quick little burst of energy or adrenaline when the rates went down. We had a 10-month low just 2 weeks ago, and that kind of ran. They've gone up just a little bit, not too much. We're still holding on pretty close to low, which is great news. And hopefully we're just going to see a little bit more loosening of that, where there's a huge chance right now. The stats say, I'll pull it up in a second, that the Fed will lower rates in the September meeting, which would be great news for obviously anybody in real estate, as that does have an indirect effect on mortgage rates. So look at two things. Look at closed deals last month, single family deals for closed resale homes. Sales were up 0.8%. So actually pretty decent. They were the previous month in June, there was 559, July 531, and almost identical to where it was the same month last year. Sales price is actually up 5.7%, median price of 5.7% at $400,000 even, and that's a huge jump. Just the previous month, it was $382, so almost a $20,000 jump in median sales price between June and July, which is great news there. Average sale price up 4.3% from the same time last year, and at $497,384, and so even the same thing there. In June, it's $469, July, $497. So $30,000 increase there, which is great news. Supply of actual homes on the market is up 20% from the same month last year, but it's down month versus month, which is great. And that has to do a little bit with that little run there, kind of in the summer and the rates where people were scooping up properties. We hit a high in June of 5.4 months, and then July it went down to 5.2 months. It's creeping up to what they call a threshold of the buyer's market. Anything 6 months or more is a buyer's market. Right now is more of a neutral market where it's kind of slow, kind of a little bit stagnant. Obviously, if you're like 2 months of inventory, like we were just a couple of years ago, that's a super hot seller's market. And so we're right on that cusp. We're seeing inventory slowly increase as it's done really for the past couple of years. If you go back to April 2022, there's 1 month of inventory. Right now we're at 5.2 months overall. Right now, the average days on market it takes to sell a property is 105. That's down from 116 where it was, which is great news. But it's taken over 100 days to sell the properties that do sell. And there's a nuance there. This data is for properties to actually sell. If you look at the MLS, only about 50% of properties that get listed are actually selling. Many of those are just sitting on the market. And the biggest reason that is just traffic, right? We call that now door swings. Like, how many times does that door have to open to get a contract? If you look at the data, the average listing in the MLS gets 3.7 showings the entire time it's listed. And it takes 10 showings right now to get a contract. And so you need about 3 times the amount of showings that the average listing gets to actually get a contract. And that's the most important math problem you can have as a home seller. How does my agent help me get 10 showings so I can get a contract? And obviously that number is going to vary, kind of go up and down a little bit based on what the condition of the property is, how well it shows, right? Curb appeal, all that stuff. But on average, it takes 10.0 showings per listing to get an actual offer. That's up 10% from where it was last year. The problem, and that's median, sorry. If you look at average showings, the average amount of showings it takes to get a contract is 12.7. And so that's basically 13 door swings you need for buyers to come look at your property to actually get a contract. The problem is if you list with an average agent, you're going to get 3.7. And so this is the most important thing, and why you need somebody who has money behind them and money behind you and money behind the marketing, because I can't force somebody to buy your house, but I can drive more traffic to it. I can drive more eyeballs to it. I can have more people see it online. I can have more people get introduced to it. The 10,000 phone calls we make a week as a team. And we're able to match up buyers and sellers by having that aggressiveness to it. And that's something super powerful to look at overall as well. Condo sales down 13.5% last month overall. Sales price, though, holding actually not too bad. Down 6.2% at 259,410. Supply of condos up 30% from the same time last year. It's right now a buyer's market, 8.6 months of inventory. And guess what? The same exact problem there for the math problem. The average condo gets 2 showings per listing the entire time it's listed. So 6 months on average, right? They're listed, they get 2 showings total, which is basically, right, 1 showing every 3 months, which is terrible. How many showings does it take on average to get a contract? It takes 9. And so you can see that you need 4+ times the amount of showing that the average condo gets to get a contract. And so you can see the problem there. That's why the properties are sitting there. And that's why the agent you choose is so important. You have to ask the question, how do I choose an agent who gets me 10 showings, right? How do I get an agent who gets me 13 showings? That's where you got to get to get that. And obviously you want to make sure you adjust in the meantime in terms of feedback from the buyers, what they're thinking, what they're seeing, what they're smelling, right? You want to make sure that you're able to make those adjustments real time to increase the chances someone's able to buy it. So that's great news there overall. If you look at the what we call the front windshield numbers, like that's what's happening real time. The ones I just share with you of what's just closed last month. But right now, the last 7 days, 509 properties went under contract. Last week's show, which was 2 weeks ago, recorded it, 546. So a slight decline. And some of that has to do with that's when summer ended. Kids are back in school, less people in town, less buyers are buying, right? Which is kind of in that shoulder season, which is pretty typical overall. The amount of volume, $193,658,000 went under contract the last 7 days. 2 properties over $2 million, 10 properties over $1 million, and 98 properties over $500,000 just in the last 7 days. So there's still a lot of stuff selling, still a lot of big money coming in here, and the agent you choose matters. With that, we actually put 17 properties under contract last week as a team, which is amazing in this time of year in this very, very, we'll call it, high resistance marketplace is kind of what we're seeing. So really quick, I'm going to jump into the micro market. I hit a couple key numbers. If you want to know more, you can always reach out to me. Always go to blakesloan.com and get an instant online home evaluation with you. It pulls from the 3 biggest data sources out there. I have zero control over the numbers that it gives you. And it gets like your own stock ticker dashboard for any property you own anywhere in the country. It's free. We offer this community service. We know in the long run, they'll come back to us if we're able to give you the data information you want for free and easily. So looking at Myrtle Beach, 29572, 29577. That zip codes are obviously they kind of lead the charts typically, but new listings in Myrtle Beach last month up 36% from the same time last year. It's up 10% year to date. Closed sales last month in Myrtle Beach up 11.3%, which is awesome. They're down though year to date 7.3%. Prices last month, median price last month down 6.3% at $520,000. Last July it was $555,000. Year to date though, prices are up 7.5% from 502 to 539. That's great news overall. Looking at condos, the condo listings are actually down less listings, down 1.1%. Closed sales down 14% last month, down 7% year to date. Prices last month for condos in Myrtle Beach down 10.4% from $250 last year to $223,950 this year. Year to date, they're almost flat. $230 in the beginning of the year, $230 now, which is interesting. And so inventory that was up 14% overall. Forgot to mention that too. House inventory in 29577, 29572 up 30.8%, which means you have 30% more competition, right? With year to date down 7% in terms of sales. And so that's why the marketing piece matters so much more. North Myrtle Beach, 29582. Closed sales, check this out, last month up 71% from the same month last year. Huge. Went from 46 last year to 79 this year, which is awesome. Year-to-date sales in North Myrtle Beach up 14.2%, which is great news. Price down though slightly. Last month, prices down 3% from 560 to 543. Year-to-date prices down 3.7% from 580 to 558. So not too bad there overall. And the average days on market last month in North Myrtle Beach, it takes to sell a property 131 days. So it takes long. You have to have some patience there. It's up 61% from the same time last year. And inventory of homes in North Myrtle Beach up 32.6% overall. Little River area, condos for houses, 29566. Sales last month down 41%. So 91 last year, 53 this year. That also has to do with inventory, some new construction, what's available, what's not. Year-to-date sales in Little River down 39%, which is interesting, right? There's a lot less inventory than there was in terms of new construction, things like that. Prices up 5.5% though, which is great, from 365 to 385 last month. Year-to-date prices down 4.3% from 384 to 368. That's obviously going to be very nuanced based on neighborhood, and you want a true expert to kind of dig in there and see what's going on. Lowers and Longs, 29568, 29569. Sales up 36%. We're seeing a lot of people move out that way, right? It's more affordable. There's more options. There's a lot of new construction out there. That's why you're seeing 36% increase. Year-to-date sales up 23%, which is awesome. Median sales price also up 6.6% from 292 to 312 last month. Year-to-date prices are pretty much flat there. The average days on market it's taken in the Loris and Longs area is 132 days. And inventory is up 3.5%. Surfside Beach, where I grew up, 29575. Closed sales up 23.9%. One interesting thing you always see, North Myrtle Beach and Surfside tend to mirror each other, and they tend to either follow Myrtle Beach in the middle or to lead. Just different kind of dynamic you see out there overall. Prices last month up 7.6% from 389 to 418. Inventory, the amount of homes for sale up 20.6% from the same time last year. And the average days on market right now, it takes to sell a property in Surfside Beach 121 days. And so that's something to keep in mind overall. Garden City, Myrtle's Inlet, 29576. Zip code. Sales last month up 9.2%, which is awesome. Year-to-date sales down 1.5%. Median price down 6.9% from 517 to 482. And year-to-date, though, prices are up. And so you can see you need somebody who's an expert to dig in this and dig into your neighborhood, because prices are up year-to-date, but down last month. So year-to-date started at 449. Right now they're at 475, which is great news. Inventory in Garden City, Myrtle's Inlet is up 41%. And so right now it takes an average of 124 days to sell the property of the properties that do sell. And that's typically about 50%. Last couple ones here, Pawleys Island, Litchfield, which is 29585. Sales down 25.6%. Prices down last month, down 9.4% from 635 to 575. Year-to-date sales down 13%. Prices down 6%. And inventory of homes for sale, 27% overall. And right now it takes 119 days on average to sell a property in Pawleys Island, Litchfield area. Last one here, Georgetown, sales up 34%. Why is that? More affordability. We've seen a lot of buyers who got priced out of Myrtle Beach move down to Georgetown, and you're starting to see that grow. We've actually bought a couple properties there with our investment fund. That's kind of an up-and-coming area there. Looking at prices, they're up 2.7% last month, down 6% year-to-date. And inventory is not really up that much, up 1.6%. And the average days on market, 133 days in Georgetown. So the bottom line there, the data is very interesting, right? Some are down, some are up. You really want to make sure you pick your strategy based on the details of what's going on, and you want to make sure that you really break that down per neighborhood. We have software we can help do that for you. One thing that's driving all this is interest rates, right? Last week's show was 6.55 right now. We're at 6.61 this morning, which is awesome overall at what we're seeing in terms of that. 6.62 as of real time right now. 15-year fixed, 5.97%. A 30-year jumbo loan, 6.67%. A 30-year FHA loan right now, 6.22%. And a 30-year VA loan, 6.23%. And so they're actually trending down right now, which is great. We'll kind of see what happens going forward. Bottom line is you're going to see a lot of stuff move as things get close to 6.5%. Just saw some recent data that said 5 million buyers are on the sidelines waiting for rates to be between 6.0 and 6.5. And so hopefully we're going to creep up to that. We'll kind of watch and see what happens. We'll take a quick break, right back in a second with our Hot Buyers Alert.
You want to run one commercial or two?
How much time we got?
About 5 minutes.
You need to.
WRNN listeners, Clay Travis here. As investors in real estate, Buck and I both know exactly what to look for to find the agent with the best tools and marketing
Actually,
to get the highest sales price possible for a home.
Totally true, Clay. And here in Myrtle Beach, that agent is our friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. If you need to sell a home and buy a new one, ask Blake about his guarantee.
hey Rick,
Get this, Blake
one's fine.
guarantees
One's
to
fine.
sell your home at a price and
Yeah.
deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. And since you know when your current home will sell by and for how much, you can buy your next home without worrying about getting stuck with 2 mortgages.
There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're
You'll have
looking to
4
sell
minutes.
and buy,
Perfect.
he is your guy. Read nearly 750 5-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start packing. That's Sloan Realty Group.
And tune in to Blake's show Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back, Blake Sloan, a radio show. Hot Buyers Alert. My team working the ridiculous amount of home buyers looking to buy property here in the Myrtle Beach, Grand Trenton area, anywhere from $250,000 to $4.2 million. If you're thinking about selling, please call us immediately, 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808-SOLD. One thing we've been doing here for a long, long time is put our money where our mouth is. A lot of people just promise things and say certain things. We've been sharing for, I don't know, a couple years now, since COVID, how many active home buyers we have that are on our site. That we have right now, we're at 80,467 active home buyers and 80,467 active home buyers from all over. How is that? Well, we outspend the average agent here 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint, $100,000 a month of marketing. And what it does is brings more eyeballs. And we're able to do that because we have a team model with buyer experts who are all day making phone calls, 10,000 phone calls a week is what we make on average. And we match up buyers and sellers. And so like right now, I got Leslie Ellison. She's from Norcross, Georgia. She's on the site. She just registered 2 minutes ago. I got Michael from Jasper, Georgia. I got Fran from Richmond, Virginia. I got Daryl from Augusta, Georgia. I got Paul from Erie, PA. Anthony from Brooklyn, New York. See, I got Smyrna, Tennessee. I got Ruth Ann from North Myrtle Beach. I got Rich from Boston, Massachusetts. Newport Richey, Florida. Miller Place, New York. All over the globe. We get, here you go, Hunter Walker from San Diego, California. They're all looking. I got Ottawa, Ontario. I get all over. We have buyers in waiting. And so what's our advantage? When the average agent lists the property, they put the sign in the yard, then start marketing. With us, I've been spending hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, really millions of dollars you look at the last couple of years in marketing before you ever call me. And so we're able to have a buyer in waiting, match them up, a sales team behind it that's super aggressive, and that's how we're able to sell properties faster and for more money. So anybody you know thinking about selling, please reach out to us, 843-808-SOLD. When you sit down with this, it'll absolutely blow your mind. I interviewed an agent this week that moved here from New York, Long Island. He had a team there. Large team. He sat down, he saw the program, he was absolutely blown away. He said, dude, this is crazy. He said, basically, if I work here, I just show them all this and say, you can have a Kia or a Mercedes SL 500 for the same price. I'm like, yeah, pretty much. That's exactly how it works. And he was absolutely blown away. And so if you want to see how that works, reach out, call me. Really quick success story. David and Ginger owned a house in Little River. Recently made a decision to move back to North Carolina so they can be back closer to their family where they're originally from. They had their house in the market with a different agent for 6 months. No success in getting the home sold. Only a few showings, no offers. David and Ginger started to explore their options. They looked with some investors for a quick offer. They were getting pennies on the dollar. Thankfully, they were referred to us by a friend of them to call Blake Sloan and Sloan Realty Group. David and Ginger met with us. We showed them how we already had buyers looking for properties just like theirs. We came in, designed a custom plan, launched a global marketing blitz, professional photos, virtual walkthrough. In just 2 weeks, we received a fantastic offer on their property. Now they're able to move back to North Carolina with maximum equity and buy their mountain home, which is what they want to do, which was awesome. Really quick, also, Davey inherited a house from her father who passed away. She wanted to sell it because she was paying two payments at the same time. She tried to sell it herself, had zero success, wasn't able to get what she wanted, just a bunch of tire kickers, she said. Thankfully, she heard about us, came into us, designed a custom plan, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos. Within a few days, fantastic as is offer, had it under contract, had it sold. She was blown away. So reach out, give me a call, 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com. We'll see you back here same time next week, and see you then.